Hey guys, Toolman Tim here. Today we're going to answer the questions. How much long-term food storage do I need? How long will it last? Where do I store it? What food do I store? And most importantly, where in the world do I even start? All right, let's start with 5 questions we need to ask ourselves. Number 1, what is your short-term food storage situation like? Do you have a pantry with a couple of months worth of food in it, canned goods, freezer food? If the answer is no, turn this video off right now and find yourself a video on copy canning or how to stock up your regular pantry. Number 2, how many people are you prepping for? Are you just a single dude? Well, that's great. How about you and your wife? That's 2. How about you, your wife, and your 2 kids? Great. Hey, do you have adult kids that are living from away? And if the shit hits the fan, they might just want to come home. Have a plan before you start. Figure out how many people you're going to prep for. Number 3, what in the world does my family actually eat? Do your kids like Spanish rice? Do they like baked brown beans? Do they like beans and rice, or do they prefer rice and beans? Make a list of the things they actually like, because the thing is, don't go and stock a whole bunch of stuff that the kids don't like and say, well, I'll just force them to eat it if bad times come. They might, but it's going to be a miserable, miserable situation. Number 4, what is my budget? How much money can I realistically spend on food storage each month without setting my family back? Number 5, where am I going to store my food? If you want to have a year's worth of food for 4 family members, you're looking at roughly a pallet's worth. So you're looking at 3 buckets wide by 4 buckets deep by 4 buckets high. You need a cool, dry, dark place, preferably somewhere you can keep it just up off the floor a bit. Put it on a pallet so in case you get some water, some flooding, something like that, it'll be all right. This video is only for the bare necessities. The carbs, the dry goods that will get you by and keep you alive. Don't say, Tim, you forgot. No, I didn't forget. It's just we're only going to cover dry goods today. First off, we're going to go with the bare minimum 2,000 calories per person per day. 7 days, 1 person, 14,000 calories. That means 730,000 calories per year. We're going to round that up to 750,000, 750,000. So then, of course, the next thing you figure out is how many people you're prepping for. If it's 4, multiply it by 4. You're going to have 3 million calories. Everybody comes at this and says, I need an entire year's worth of dry goods right now. Well, guess what? That's usually not in the budget for anybody. Start small. One of the biggest mistakes Becky and I did was we decided to buy an entire year's worth of flour and then an entire year's worth of sugar. The problem was that a year into this program, we had a half a year's worth of supplies, but really not, because we didn't have a well-balanced ingredients. We had lots of flour, lots of sugar, but we didn't have all the other stuff that we wanted. Set yourself a goal of 1 month. That usually fits within a budget. It might take you a year, it might take you 2 years. But how great will you feel once you've had 1 month's worth of supplies? Then once you've done that, triple it to 3 months. If you can get to 3 months, that's a quarter of a year. Great. Now you've built that up. Maybe you figured out some ways to save a little more money. We're going to double it. Then we'll go to 6 months. Then we'll double that and go to a year. But if you start right off at the very beginning and say, I'm going to do a year, there's a good chance you're going to get burnt out and quit. So start small, start with a month, work your way up. So if you want to get into long-term dry goods storage, what do you need? Well, it isn't a lot. A little bit of an investment up front. I would suggest buying the supplies that you need for the full month or the full 3 months to start. 5-gallon buckets with lids, 5-gallon Mylar bags that come with the O2 absorbers in them. If you're not sure what those are, they look like a hand warmer. You throw them in and it will absorb any of the oxygen that'll help keep your dry goods from spoiling. You're going to need a hair straightener. Yes, I know, hair straightener. Imagine that. A Sharpie marker. What did we, as a family, start stocking to work our way up toward a year? I'm going to give you my basics. Doesn't mean you're going to stick with them. But if you guys want to know what we store, it'd be a good jumping off point for you. So flour, we got 6 buckets at 35 pounds a bucket. Oatmeal, 6 buckets at 20 pounds a piece. Beans, 5 buckets, 35 pounds. Rice, 5 buckets, 35 pounds. Sugar, 5 buckets, 35 pounds. Powdered milk, 2 buckets, 25 pounds. Instant potatoes, 1 bucket, 15 pounds. Cornmeal, 2 buckets, 30 pounds. Pancake mix, 3 buckets, 30 pounds. Elbow macaroni noodles, 2 buckets, 20 pounds. That brings us, at the moment, to just over 2 million calories. For my wife, myself, and our twins. If our adult kids need food as well, and they have to come home, we'll be here for them. It just won't go as far. So for a full year of long-term food storage for 4 people, you're looking at around 3 million calories. Cost-wise, this is in American dollars, $1,000 to $1,500 if you store it yourself. That means buy it in bulk, put it in buckets yourself, seal the Mylar bag. So if you're wondering, How much can I save by doing this myself as opposed to buying it from a company? I'll give you 3 examples here. So the Mayflower Trading Company, you can buy a 5-gallon bucket of beans for $106.99. You can bucket it, is that a word? You can bucket it yourself. Buy the bucket, the Mylar bag, the O2 absorbers, the lid, $36, about a third. Oats, $63. Do it yourself, $27. Rice, $76. Do it yourself, $27. Starting to see a pattern. To do it yourself, you're going to save about 2/3 the overall cost. So a few thoughts on how this works. This is not keto friendly. Totally get it. This is just to keep you alive over a year. Hopefully time for grocery stores to get restocked, for you to learn how to grow, for you to trade with your neighbors for a cow, who knows. Start cooking with these staples early on. If you've got beans and rice and beans, oatmeal, pancake mix, if you don't know how to use it or your family doesn't want to eat it, why even bother storing it? It's absolutely worthless. So spend some time now, once a week, and make a recipe. Figure out, oh yeah, here's a really cool rice recipe that we can do, or here's some beans, or say we take a can of tuna and mix it in, whatever it happens to be, but cook with it now so that you know, yeah, we can eat this. Make sure you go on Amazon and buy yourself one of those aluminum bucket opening tools. Otherwise, you're gonna have one hell of a time trying to get those lids off after 20 or 30 years. Get food grade buckets. You'll pay a couple of bucks more, but right now on Amazon.com, you can get 6 buckets for $30, $5 a bucket. It's good insurance. Put Amazon links to everything I mentioned in here in the bottom in case you're looking to pick anything up. Don't use used buckets, okay? It might be tempting to go down to your local bakery and get a whole bunch of icing buckets or whatever it is. Over 20, 30 years, even with a Mylar bag, I wouldn't trust it. Stuff's gonna leach out. So get yourself good, new, food grade buckets. Inspect the buckets yearly. You don't need to open them up. You don't need to rotate them. This is a set it and forget it system. You want to inspect them each year. Make sure the heaviest ones are on the bottom, lightest ones are on the top. Look for cracks, look for infiltration of bugs, look for water stains, and then ask yourself, how am I going to prepare this food? You better have some backups. You better have some propane stored. You better have a generator with fuel backed up. It doesn't mean you have to do it today. I don't want you to be scared and run out and spend all kinds of money. I just want you to plan and do things within your budget and in a sensible time frame. So if you've stuck around till now, that means I made this video for you. So hit the subscribe button because I got a whole bunch more content just like this. And if you're just starting to go down the long-term food storage rabbit hole and you're like, hey, he talked about this, but how do I seal it? How do I put the lids on? I got a video for that too. So check out this one right here and it'll show you exactly how to seal them up, how to store things. And guys, as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.